So today is back and shoulder day. We're going to focus mostly on the upper back here between the shoulder blades again. So for those of us who are at desks and are starting to round the shoulders over, this should be a good one for you. What you'll need is a comfy place to lay down or a mat, a Z folded blanket. Again, so this is just a thick blanket folded on top of itself. This is how wide mine is. Yours can be wider. It doesn't have to be this thick, whatever feels good when you lay on it, or you don't even have to use it. The other thing you'll need is some sort of strap or belt or scarf that's a bit wider than shoulder width apart. So find yourself on your mat, feet on the floor, knees up. And we'll just start by kind of getting comfortable on the mat, see how the back and the shoulders are feeling so that we can take note of any differences over the course of this therapy session. Take note if how the weight is being distributed in your body. So do you feel heavier in the back or shoulders, in the head, arms, maybe your hips? See if you can notice too the position of your arms, palms up, down, inward, or are they different between arms? And where are your arms spread out so that they are comfortably lying down? Is that a different angle on each side? Take a couple exhales here. Maybe clear what's been going on the day out. A longer exhale than inhale helps put us in parasympathetic mode, so more of a calm state of mind rather than a fight or flight or stress state of mind, which is really helpful for letting this therapy be as beneficial as possible. Once you have a good snapshot of how you're feeling with your back on the floor, I'll invite you to grab your blanket, set it in the middle of where you're lying. It needs to be long enough to support you from head to tail. And you're gonna lie your spine along it so that it's along the spine, making sure that it's from head to tail covering you. Feet on the floor, knees up, make sure you're well supported. If this doesn't feel good, like if it just feels okay but it doesn't feel good, then by all means change the blanket so that it's wider or not as high. We want you to be comfortable. First thing that we're going to do is bring the shoulders up towards the ceiling. Nice and slow, contracting those front pectoral muscles. Find ourselves curled over a lot of the times during the day when we're on computers or looking at our phones. So this is mimicking that movement so that we can start to release this contraction, letting the shoulders come back down onto near the mat and releasing that. Exhale. And let's do that 2 more times. Completely fine if you're noticing bumps or jagged movements. Just stay concentrating on that movement to go slow, small, so that you can smooth that out ultimately. Take an exhale before you start to come up towards the ceiling again. And now bring those shoulder blades back in toward the spine, pressing those shoulders kind of down into the mat. This lengthens this front pectoral part, giving you some space and length. And those back shoulder blades are kind of coming in to give a hug to the spine, so to speak, nice and gentle. Release that and bring the shoulders back up towards the ceiling. Slowly come back down and continue all the way with the shoulder blades coming in towards the spine. Your arms may start to roll out, that's okay, let them do that. And one more time, releasing those shoulder blades and having the shoulder blades sort of wing away from the spine. Come up towards the ceiling and slowly come back to where you started. Take an exhale. grab that strap or whatever you have next to you. Arms a little bit more than shoulder width apart. And what I'd like you to do is this movement is going to originate from your shoulders. So thinking about those shoulder blades moving away from the spine as the arms lift and come up towards the ceiling. And then come back down. You do want your arms to be rather straight. There will be a slight bend though, so that you're not going into hyperflexion. So again, coming up, shoulders come back down nice and slow. We've added some weight onto it with the weight of the arms, so you might notice some more jagged movements. But as you let those shoulder blades come back in towards the spine, and then move away, it's helping to clear out any tension. So slowly coming back, shoulder blades come in and kiss that spine, and up. And it's important to notice if I turn a little bit this way, when I'm coming down, I'm not bending at the elbows. It's not like it's not one of those workouts that you do in the gym. It's my arms staying more or less straight, and my shoulders are really doing the work of coming up and coming down. Great. Slowly bring that strap down. Let the arms relax for a moment. Take a couple breaths. And if you did that shoulder at the wall movement that we did last week, one of the reasons that one can be so effective is because we're moving the muscles and the body on different planes. So now we've just gone forward and back and this way, but now we're going to grab this strap and go backwards overhead. We want to be staying in the range of motion for the shoulders. And so there's a couple key points about how to stay there. As you slowly take the arms back towards the head, you're gonna go slow, and once you notice that there's some restriction here, or your back starts to arch, I'd like you to stop, and if there's any discomfort, I'd like you to stop and go back the other way. You don't gain anything by going into pain with these movements. And if your back is arching, that means that you've moved past the range of motion for your shoulders. And so we're gonna stay really true to the shoulder and its mobility. If, however, you have more mobile shoulders and a larger range of motion here, just go to your ears, so not past here. Even if you feel like you can, I'd like you to stop here just for range of motion purposes. Unless if some people have really mobile shoulders, they may be able to go back, but in most cases, you're compensating with other muscles and not staying true to the shoulders. And we're slowly just gonna floss, I suppose, back and forth. Flossing out that shoulder joint. Making sure to breathe, especially over those bumpy and jagged movements. Come and bring your strap down. Put it to the side. Take an exhale. And then remove the blanket from underneath you. Lie down on the mat. And see what differences you notice here. My spine doesn't feel like it's touching the mat as much anymore. It feels like there's a lot of openness and space here. My shoulders feel like they're touching the mat more. And even though we didn't really work on it, I do feel like my lower back has a lot more space too, just from lying on this folded blanket. So take a minute or two more here to breathe, to integrate this work, and to sense and notice any other changes from these shoulder movements.